All right, everybody, we are back in here. And let me get a sound check real quick before we get to run our mouth again. We got AJ working on the RV, and I'm working on the sound. So,
Yep. Still no word from AJ, so I don't know. I don't think it's going that good out there.
yeah. Anybody that's jumped on, give me a quick sound check so I know we're good, and we'll get to going here. All right, David Cruz gives me the OK symbol, so we are good. So, once again, welcome back to KBN Live. We got Kristine Fischer with us tonight. We got Ryan on the phone. While we were on mute, we were talking about you guys' new setup on the road and your new RV, and AJ was outside working on it. Tell us a little bit how that's going so far.
Well, this is our first official night staying in this thing full time. We got some groceries. We're officially moved in, and we don't have any water. We just got power, so it's gonna be an adventure. But it'll be fun. It's a good setup. We got our kayaks in, and we're in South Carolina right now. I'm gonna fish the Lake Murray tournament on Saturday, and AJ's working a dealer event on Friday. We're gonna help do that Thursday, Friday. So we're in full swing with our season and on the road and everything. So it's going to be kind of nonstop from here on out, and it'll definitely be interesting.
Now, is that a KBF trail? No, that's the Hobie BOS Open.
No,
Murray, right?
yeah, that's a Hobie BOS Open on Lake Murray, South Carolina.
Right, y'all didn't make that long drive to Shasta.
Yeah, unfortunately.
How many boats do you guys have with you?
We've got 3 with us right. God, we got 3 with us right now.
So you're there at Lake Murray. You just got done. What was it? 2 weeks ago on
Chickamauga.
Deluge. The event went off great. It was fun to watch from a distance. Tell us a little bit about how that went for you and how that week went.
Well, I think for Hobie's first Open, I don't think they could have done much better on how they ran that event, how everything. It was incredibly smooth. Aside from the obvious extreme flooding that threw like 70% of the field, a huge curveball. The event was flawless. I thought they did a great job of highlighting the anglers. I love the interviews, and the Kevin Nakata did phenomenal at doing some of the live updates throughout the day. I know he and AJ and Michael worked really hard to, make this event something really special. And I do know that the events following this, they're only going to continue to improve on how they run things and how everything's going to be organized from here on out. But overall, like the free-fishing was great. I think most people can agree with me that they found a pretty solid pattern free-fishing, and that obviously didn't hold up for the majority of this with the water rising. Ryan can attest to that. I think it rose, Ryan, like 8 feet overnight?
Yeah.
Not even overnight, but in a matter of hours.
Yeah, it got ugly quick.
It did. It did. But I mean, I still left that event not really that upset. It was a great feeling. Didn't have the finish that I personally wanted or expected, but that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, I know from a distance, all the weeks leading up to it, I was seeing all the giants come in the pre-fishing. And I had no plans to go, but it made me want to go, and I was thinking, how can I call in sick or do something to get over there? But still fun to watch from a distance. I thought they did a great job with the live updates and the each day with the tournament recaps. It was fun to watch from afar, even though I couldn't be there. So they did a great job with it.
Agreed.
So I know a lot of people have chimed in today. They were anxious to watch this tonight. Some opinions have been floating around about some new things that are going out there on this. I'm going to call it the USA Bassin Pan Am event coming up soon, or I guess soon. Is it this fall, summer? I'm not even really hip to the details other than the actual team that got put together.
It's in the summer.
Okay, in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the big sticking point or the talking point is the actual makeup of the team and how it got put together. And I know there's some opinions floating right out there. So I know, Kristine, you have your own. Ryan, you have a few on it. So let's dive into that and talk about that a little bit.
You want to shoot off first, Ryan, or would you like me to take that?
Well, since you offered, there's some there's some really great anglers that are representing the men's side of the field. You know, I mean, some names we're very familiar with from, you know, seeing them at the top of tournaments. I don't really know personally how the selection process took place. I mean, you know, there's some recognized guys on there. I think maybe, you know, to be representing Team USA, you know, like Hobie does the Hobie World. So their selection process is actually qualifiers from winning tournaments, you know, that put you onto this team instead of just kind of you know, sort of random draw or however it worked out. I mean, I think that would have been cool, maybe to even host like a qualifying tournament on that body of water. So that way, not only are you getting top performing tournament anglers, but you're also getting people that show that they can perform on that type of water. I don't know if you guys know a lot about Center Hill, but it is a deep clear lake. We had our state championship up there 2 years ago, and you go like literally 6 feet off the bank and you're in 60 feet of water. I mean, it's not going to be easy to pick up on, you know, if you're not used to fishing that style. So, I mean, I think that might have been a little better way to go about things as far as team selection. And and it's funny to me that that Eric Jackson is the captain. I mean, I know Jackson's sponsoring it, but when you think kayak fishing, you don't really think of EJ like kicking people's teeth in. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. That was kind of my big thing was, you know, if you're going to, and I may be speaking out of context here because I know I did receive a majority of the emails with the information on this, but those were my thoughts too. If you're gonna, if you want our sport to be taken seriously and you want to have a legitimate shot of making this something bigger than it is, I think having a good representation. Well, let me take that back. Not a good representation. Having a qualifier, like Brian said, you know, leading up to this, I think that could have built a lot of hype and it could have made this more of a, you know, an actual team. Having a tryout, but like with anything like that, there are certain qualifications to meet to make a team like that. I think it would have been kind of neat to see that. And maybe they have plans for that down the road. I would hope they would. And maybe someone in the comments that knows a little more about that can fill us in. But those were kind of my initial thoughts about that. Also, was it'd be neat to see a qualifier that could definitely add some validity and a little more legitimacy to the whole deal.
They always could.
It's hard to identify how much of it's for publicity and how much of it's for like the sport.
Right. You know, they always could have jumped in and used the KBN rankings. Just pulled the top 12 or something. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. I mean, but I mean, you made a good point earlier, you know, when Mark kind of made that tongue-in-cheek post. You know, I mean, several of the top guys, you know, in your little compiled numbers are in the USA team selection, and that's great. I mean, there's no doubt there's some great anglers in there. I just think, you know, maybe if there was like some sort of structured qualifying system would have been pretty cool to see.
Right.
I agree. I would like to almost preface my thoughts by saying I think all of us have a lot of good friends that are fishing this, and a lot of incredible anglers are on this team. And so there's in no way do I want to not encourage those that have chosen to do this. I've made that pretty clear in a lot of my posts. I did get an email and an offer to compete in this, and I did decline for several reasons that we can talk about or not talk about if you guys would like to.
We can talk about, please.
Well, there were two. So the first thing that kind of stuck out was obviously, for those that know me, I have a slightly strong opinion on the segregating of men and women in this sport, especially when fishing is not an advantageous sport, whether you're a male or female. So when I first got that email, it was initially scheduled on the KBF St. Clair, and I'm planning on fishing the KBF St. Clair Trail. I know AJ and I both are really excited about that one. So I emailed back and said I have to decline for 2 reasons. One is a schedule conflict. 2, I personally, don't believe that this is a good look for our sport, and it certainly isn't a good look for serious women that have been trying really hard to be taken seriously in this. And we went back and forth for a little bit. They ended up moving the date a couple times, and it now falls on the Hobie Open on Lake Fork. And one of the email responses I got back in response to my the male and female deal was something along the lines of, the first reason is with Olympic sports, the men and women are always in separate classes. And with that reason, I understand it. I don't agree with it, but I do understand. And that's fine there. The second reason being, this was his personal opinion and beliefs, is that he said, I'm try to paraphrase this as much as I can. He wanted to give women a bigger voice in kayak fishing, and as of yet, a percentage of women that have done well in tournaments or won tournaments is extremely small. So at this deal, there would be a woman that would win every single event, that would get media attention, and yada 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 yada. And that didn't sit very well with me. So I politely declined the invitation to fish that. I don't think that the first reason, I understand the Olympic men and women, that's fine. Don't agree, but I understand. But the second deal, it almost feels like it's a pity stage or a pity deal for women to get more attention or have a voice. And if I want to have a bigger voice in the sport, I want to be competing against the best people in the country. And I don't want to compete against a group of women. I want to compete against everybody, women, males, all of it. So that second comment just kind of didn't sit real well with me. And that was a big reason why I decided not to participate in that.
I think that's pretty understandable, especially like as competitive as you are, to say, oh, well, I didn't win the overall division, but I did win the women's, here's your trophy. Thanks for showing up, because we put you in a separate division. Like, that's not, I don't think that really drives.
And I don't know if he knew who he was talking to. Because I think, maybe the majority of women in the sport, that wouldn't rub them the wrong way. And it may be a way that they could build some confidence or I'm not sure, just get into the tournament deal, or it wasn't necessarily a bad look. But for me, it didn't personally align with what my priorities and what my goals are in that regard.
We've got some ladies chiming in on here, Aaron Mathis says, here is your participation trophy for being a girl. And that's the kind of
that's the vibe I got. It's like, here, women don't win, so let's give them a chance where they can win. And there will be a woman that will win at every single event. Like, that was tough for me. And I've got, Jean Wilson is one of my heroes. I am her biggest fan, and she's doing this, and I hope that she goes out there and just crushes it. And like I said, I posted this in a lot of my women's only groups and got some feedback, and most of the women agreed that they didn't want it to be segregated. And it is. So it'll just be interesting to kind of see how that all plays out. But I could not really respect that response.
Getting a lot of...
And I mean, to the point to say that, you don't see women winning many kayak tournaments. I mean, what's the ratio of guys to girls in kayak fishing right now? Like, I mean, I don't know.
That's my point. There were 2 of us, myself and Terry at the Hobie event. And I think Alicia was the only one at the KBF Santee event, if I'm not mistaken. So that's 3 women out of 3 giant national events in one weekend. So that's not really fair to say that it's because we can't win. It's just there's not many of us that go and fish these giant events. At the national stuff, I see Jesse Mitchell, I'll see Terry. I know I see Valerie Grant down at the TOC almost every year. But aside from that, there's not many that'll do that. So it's not we don't have the talent or the ability. It's just the numbers aren't there yet, in my opinion.
Agreed. Yeah.
That's true. you know, even in our local trails that I help run here, when we first started, godly 5 or 6 years ago, we actually, with good intention, started a top women angler or top woman angler award in the tournament. But after a year or two of doing that, we stopped that. Number one, because some of our top women anglers were winning anyway, and number two, it seemed like, wait a minute, are we kind of unintentionally degrading the talent of these lady anglers by having this award? So we stopped doing it.
Right.
Because, you know, I fished against you, and there's some ladies here locally that, whatever, they kick everybody's butt regardless. Like you said, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Craig Dye.
I mean, I understand, like, you know, how they do like a youth division or whatever. We used to do a youth division in our kayak trail. I get that part, because you're taking younger, less experienced anglers and putting them together, but you don't do like a youth trail and then a youth boys and a youth girls like that. You know,
Right.
like, I mean, how far do you need to break things down in a sport, like you say, Kristine, where it's not advantageous? It doesn't matter if you're, you know, 6'5", 280 and bench press 400 pounds. It doesn't matter. You're still going out and catching fish like that. None of the physical attributes are really helping you at all.
Right.
Hey,
those are my initial thoughts as well.
If we're going to take,
go ahead, Jeff.
If we're going to take the Olympic angle on this, apparently it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman anyway to participate in different sports. If you've been watching the news lately.
What's that?
I said lately, if you've been watching the news in the Olympics, I guess they're allowing biological.
You can identify as anything.
Cross over to different ends.
Oh,
it doesn't really matter.
Got you now.
So to that point, is there going to be some sort of certification process to figure out which team you're actually on?
How you feel that day, Ryan? It's you in there.
Oh man.
Craig Dye actually had a big response here per Tony Forte. I guess he's the board of directors guy for USA Bass, saying future teams will follow a more rigid qualification selection process. The primary criteria is your fishing prowess, engagement, and status in your sport, and your ability to act as a promoter for the event. That last part's kind of strange, that they would consider your ability to act as a promoter for the event.
It sounds like even more of a marketing deal. But I miss? They are going to have some qualifiers for future events from here on out?
Right. It said this year they used input from industry and tournament organizers to select a team. Future teams will follow a more rigid qualification and selection process. It doesn't say how, but I guess they are looking at something. Chris Payne actually caught that as well. He said, "This gives me pause, your ability to act as a promoter for the event." It just seemed kind of odd.
What's that, Jeff? You're breaking up a little bit from my end anyway.
Chris Payne caught that same thing, the ability to act as a promoter. He actually picked up on that and found that.
Yeah, that is a little interesting.
Chris Payne probably posted the funniest meme that I looked at today on that post. Oh man, that was good.
Jordan Marshall, hashtag social media stars. That's what he just threw in there. It really shouldn't be about that. It should be about, you know, your talent as an angler. How have you competed in tournaments around the country?
Right.
Not social.
And national level events. I would think that in order to have a Team USA, I would really hope that you would have the best representation of our country. And I would hope that maybe this will help with some feedback that, you know, they can have a qualifier and have people actually compete. And that's something that if that were the case, you know, I think it would probably spark the interest of more legitimate anglers out there, to be honest.
And think about how good of a tournament that would be too. If you did a qualifier, you know, wherever it is, just think of the people that would show up for that tournament, just knowing that they were competing to, you know, for the Team
country.
USA.
Right.
Like, that's what you get if you win. So I think that'd be huge.
Absolutely.
You know, one thing I want to say, you know, I appreciate Craig Dye and some others being on this thread here. It's just because we want to discuss this stuff, a lot of people immediately jump to saying, "Oh God, here goes some people. They're haters." It's not that at all. You know, just because we want to discuss an event and some of the ins and outs of what's wrong and what's right with it, you know, that's good. It doesn't mean you're a hater. It doesn't mean we're trying to throw shade on the event, but it's definitely worth talking about.
For sure. Every one of us are here for the exact same reason. We love the sport. We want to see the sport grow. We want to promote the sport. But we're the anglers. Our feedback is imperative to the success of the sport, and we all want to see something, the best representation of something that can push us to the next level. And I think that the feedback and the honest feedback can be really important. And there's in no way do I disrespect or, look down upon anybody that chooses to do this. I made that very clear in the women's groups when I informed them I was declining. It doesn't mean that I don't think they should, or I think that they're less, serious because they're accepting to do this. That's not the case at all. I've got a lot of great friends that are going to be fishing, competing in this deal, and I don't think any of us are looking down on any of them for that. It's a good thing to discuss and maybe help them see ways they can improve on the future to make this an actual legitimate deal.
Certainly, because who wouldn't want to? Even people that aren't in Hobie strive to get to the Hobie Worlds to represent Team USA.
Absolutely,
it be the same sort of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'm trying to get there. There's a bunch of comments flying in. I'm trying to get through them. Somebody said something about Eric Jackson being the captain, and I think the last part of that deal that Craig posted about being a quality promoter of the event. Eric Jackson and Chad Hoover, of course, are on the team, neither one of which compete in kayak events that I've ever, with any regularity or that I've ever seen. But both obviously are influencers. So maybe that's,
Mm-hmm.
Obviously why they put them on there too.
And that plays into the marketing side of it, the promoting side of it.
Neil Smith says he just wants to see the folks that are great anglers being put up there, no other attributes. I appreciate that.
I see that side of it. Like, you don't let the CEO of Nike play on the Olympic basketball team. So,
thank God.
Exactly.
Well, it seems to me. Oh, sorry, Tom. My mic's breaking up. But it seems to me that one easy solution, if they were going to bring Hoover in on this, would be to have somehow brought in the KBF AOY points or the national championship or something to pick these anglers and, leave that spot open for somebody else, or those two spots. Mm-hmm. Not that would be the best way, but that would be another way.
Right. And it's just tough for a lot of us. It falls right on the Hobie Bass Open on Fork. And I know some of the best guys in the country are going to be making their way to Fork. I think this was kind of a last minute thing for them. And I know they were scrambling to find an open weekend. And with as much stuff as we have, it's both a blessing and a curse. There aren't a lot of open weekends to do this, but I know that I've committed to the Hobie series, and aside from the male-female deal, I still wouldn't do it because I want to compete against those people at Lake Fork, males, females, all of it, for a chance at Hobie Worlds, for a big payday, and that prestige that comes along with that. So it's just tough having that schedule conflict there also.
Sure.
Was there some kind of schedule conflict like a week before or a week after or something, or was it just, was that the only possible weekend?
I know that the first two original dates I got, they were both KBF dates. Chad actually called me to ask me to do this. I said, Chad, that's the St. Clair event. I'm going to go to St. Clair. And he's like, oh yeah, I probably will too. And I hope he does. And that was a huge deal for them last year. And I know a bunch of us will go to St. Clair to fish the KBF deal. So I know they moved it from that. I think it fell in another KBF deal, and then they rescheduled it again, and it's a conflict with the Hobie event. So I'm assuming they just couldn't find an open weekend.
Yeah, gotcha.
Well, hopefully, like some of these people have said, that they are going to try to modify it, grow it after this year, maybe listen to some of the feedback from others and change the format. Mm-hmm. Even if they wanted to invite lady anglers specifically, it still should be one team. Not based on just give me a female angler, but give me the top 10 anglers for the event.
Right.
Don't you agree, Kristine? Do you want to be included just because you're a female or because you're one of the best 10 anglers? Or,
Oh, Jeff, I think you know the answer to that.
I do.
Probably all too well.
Yeah. I'll probably feel the fury of that when I'm at Fork because I'll be there for that Hobie event.
Shoot. We'll see. I think we'll all feel the fury from Guillermo and if his deep bite's on, we're all in big trouble.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Most people saying if there's enough feedback from the kayak community, some things or most things will likely change. It's from Corey Sherman, and that's really true. And that's why discussions like this are important. And discussions on different social media outlets are important. There's a right and wrong way, obviously, to get your opinion out there, but having that talk in public is okay. It's a good thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's constructive. It's definitely constructive.
Very much unlike the ice fishing post that went on for 600 comments yesterday.
I still can't. I can't wrap my head around what happened there. I don't. I mean, there's a dude sitting in a kayak on some ice. I don't know where it went from there.
Yeah, that's the most unbelievable thread we've had almost. I don't really understand how it picked up legs like that, other than Jim Clark kept it going. I blame him.
It really is sad when Jim has to explain anything to anyone.
Hey.
Rich Shrek and Ghost said, "Don't worry, he's stealing G's graph before fork, so we're good."
Appreciate it, Rich.
Trying to get caught up on some of these comments here. There's guys trying. I'll encourage you guys to go back and read all these because there's some folks chiming in with some really long replies to how and why they did this. I don't want to get on here and read them all, but it seems like some guys have some better information than we already had. Steve Owens throwing some fire out there.
What's Steve-O got to say?
I'm going to try to read this. It's kind of long, so bear with me. It says,
all right.
Eric Jackson has the contact and the experience with these people. However, after the FLW, with his help, treating us like we are a sideshow and a person with a dang clue, when does a person with a dang clue get to represent us? At some point, stuff like this, the big industry folks are seeing on their plate and eventually just tell us to kick rocks without being taken seriously. And I think he's referring back to the FLW kayak division that was being kicked around, where they were kind of being treated like or thought we were going to be treated like a sideshow there.
Yeah, where it was like a single launch access tournament, like just from the Kentucky Dam or something like that.
Right.
I remember that last year.
Yeah, people saying preach on, Steve-O. So you need to go back and read that whole thing. Oh, Lord. AJ's out there chiming in. He's not doing his job.
He just got in here. What's going on?
What did he say?
Shitter's full.
Oh, no.
AJ just wondering what they say. But anything else you want to say on that topic, guys? Ryan, Kristine?
No, I mean, good luck to the folks, representing Team USA. Hope we win it. I guarantee you Craig Dye is going to go out there and head right back out to the spot we fished 2 years ago and bring in some smallmouth. So he's my number one pick if you got to watch somebody do it on Team USA.
I think so too. Jamie Dennison might be up there also. Jamie Dennison's a sleeper on that. I hope this turns out to be a really good deal, and I hope they may, change some rules going forward. I wish it nothing but the best, and I hope they do well. I'll be watching from Lake Fork. So
I didn't see where are they hosting that with? Is it a Attorney X deal? Is it a iAngler deal?
I'm actually not sure.
I haven't seen anything behind that or about that yet. And do we know how many teams are in it from what other countries, anything like that?
I know Canada's got one. I talked to the Canadians. Canada, I think Costa Rica. Don't quote me on that. That's all I know so far.
Alabama, do they have one?
Jim Clark, you there?
It's Jim and his cousin and 3 catfish.
Gotcha. Yeah, and of course I'm pulling for Cody Milton, the Arkansas boy.
Yeah.
There's Ron Champion, Jason Broach. It's Matt Ball. Those guys it's full.
Yeah, there's a lot of good guys on that list.
No, there's solid sticks on there, but I'm just saying I've seen Craig do it before, and he knows exactly where to go.
Right. Well, I know, Kristine, you guys are out in South Carolina now getting ready for the BOS event. What's next? Are you heading to Shreveport anytime soon? Are y'all fishing the national championship, or what's going on?
We are. I'm actually on a team deal. We have the Bassmaster Classic next weekend. And right after that, I think we're going to roll down to Shreveport a few days early. I think we're going to have a good, 6-7 days down there before the tournament starts. We're hoping, knock on wood. So we got the Bassmaster Classic. We'll be there for a few days, and then we're going to roll down to Shreveport. So we will be there and see everybody and have a good time with that.
Are you guys staying on site there at Harrah's? Is there?
Oh yeah.
Or are you staying on the lake?
AJ has done some research on a couple campgrounds in the area. Apparently, he said there's 2 of them that have private ponds. So if we can't catch any fish on Caddo Cross or Bistineau or any of that, we can at least come back and fish the ponds and hopefully hook into something.
Well, with the rain they've had, those private ponds may actually be accessible.
Reservoirs, so. Yeah. Have plenty of water to fish.
So what's your process like? Take us through a big tournament like this, 5 or 6 different lakes that you can fish. What's your process like breaking down the water, like map study, not specifics, but what, how do you kind of dissect and decide where to start your pre-fishing?
With this particular situation, you have to take in accountability that we've got 480 anglers. And the way I look at it is you've got 2 of those lakes are the most talked about, the most, popular, I would say, big bass lakes. And that's something I would assume that is going to get a lot of pressure. You have to look at, I know there's a salvinia problem down there. So I've been doing a little bit of research on the water. And my deal is, I think that the tournament honestly could be won on any one of those lakes. Now the whole, after the cut, and then you move everybody to the Red River, if it's still fishable, that obviously throws some curveballs. Me personally, I don't think I'm going to spend any time on the Red River pre-fishing at all.
I don't know that the Red River's even going to be fishable. My buddy, he sent me a picture from his aunt's house, and it's on 12-foot stilts, and the water's all the way up to the porch on their house. So that's a lot of water.
Exactly. So I'm kind of counting that out. I think that, the bite could be really, really good. We could hit it just right for the first time in years, the national championship, where the fishing could be incredible. And I think a lot of guys are going to catch some good fish. The way I'm looking at it, I don't like to fish with the crowds. So I'm hoping to find something on a body of water that may be overlooked, but holds really good numbers. That's probably what I'll say about that.
I mean, it looks like a great, all the 3 lakes that I've looked at, it looks like it's a lot of flooded cypress. It's going to be a lot of fun, shallow water, banging a chatterbait around.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty excited about the bite down there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are. It is definitely, obviously, those bodies of water are very shallow, and they will be shallow. There's all kinds of. The problem is you can't throw it enough cypress trees. You've got all kinds of areas where those fish could be. So I think you're going to have to understand and learn what those fish are keying in on, and apply that to the bodies of water and try to find something that works.
Now, have you been down there before, Kristine?
Not once.
I haven't either.
I'm excited, though. It looks like a beautiful area. So it should be a good time.
Yeah.
It's full of good people and good food. I guarantee I'll probably gain 8 or 10 pounds while we're down there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good time. My son actually lives there, so I've been trying to get him to get around and get me the doc talk about what's going on. So.
Very good.
Let's see what else we got here. Do you guys heard anything when they're going to announce if the red's off limits? Are they going to determine that? Right.
I think Monday.
This coming Monday, is that right?
Yeah, Chad did a live feed and said he's going to come up with some updates and announcements regarding the water restriction. I think, don't quote me on that, but I believe he's going to have some more information on Monday.
Was that the huge announcement, or is that something else?
That's something else.
Okay.
Have they put out the pay scale yet?
No.
Not important. We're still trying to figure out if that dude was ice fishing or not. We don't need about no pay scale.
All right. I mean, it's only 3 weeks out, but that's cool.
Monday. Josh Booth said Monday. Hoover said they're still working on it along with the boundaries. People talking about the crawfish down there. Should be a good time. Somebody earlier, Ryan, said something about the KBN meetup we're going to try to pull off Tuesday night while we're there.
Yeah, man, we got to find a trashy little hole in the wall that can accommodate us.
Yeah. Need some locals
preferably
to tell us what's up.
Somewhere without a metal detector at the door.
Right there on site, huh?
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. And me, Shane, Josh Evans, Aaron, Cottrell, Jim Clark, we've got a house and 20 acres. If anybody wants to come over and enjoy some after hours entertainment, you're more than welcome to.
Okay, so you're saying you're hosting it at your house?
I'm saying we're hosting a KBN meetup every night at our house. I want to go ahead and apologize to Holly, our house mom, for putting that information out there, but I'm sorry.
You didn't give the address or the location, so you're safe for now.
Oh, I'm going to drop a pin. Don't worry.
Good deal. Well, I know, Kristine, you guys are still getting settled into your new digs on the road here. You have anything else you want to chime in with? And I'll see if there's any more questions out here for you before we let you get out of here for the night.
One thing I do want to touch on, if there are any ladies watching, I don't know if you all have seen, but myself and a few others are organizing a women's kayak fishing weekend. It's going to be the second week in October after the Native Titan tournament on Taneycomo. And we're going to release, I'm working with Mel Isaacs out there and the Tourist Bureau on Taneycomo. And it's going to be a really, really, really neat deal. We've got a lot of sponsors on board for that. And it's basically going to be a whole weekend that's built to empower women to get into the sport, to learn more about the sport. Myself and several others are going to teach classes on everything from backing up a trailer, loading a kayak, safety, shallow water technique, deep water technique, rod, everything, electronics, reading maps, how to break down water. So keep an eye out for that. We're going to release some more information in the next few weeks once we finalize the discounts we have on lodging and everything else. So that's kind of a neat thing that's meant to encourage more women to get into our sport or just see what it's about.
I know Mrs. Malott is fired up about coming to that.
Yeah, very excited about that.
Drag her up there. Drop her off.
Will there be a photography/promotion course at all?
Yeah, taught by yours truly.
Of course. The First Lady of Kayak Fishing herself.
Mark Ryan says he knows dudes that can't back a trailer, so maybe some of them need to head up there.
Yeah. Can we recommend buddies to send to the trailer backing course?
They can't back up a trailer. I got some serious issues. Oh, and one other thing too. I just want to thank everybody that chimed in on the recent social media post and stuck up for me on my behalf. There were several of you, and I'm pretty grateful to have all of you guys chiming in and standing up for me when I'm not on the internet. So thank you guys for that.
Where was that at? Did I miss the melee? What happened?
Oh, you missed something. Some boy stepped in a bear trap a couple days ago.
Yeah, it was not good. Not a good deal.
Don't mess with little sister. You got to know better than that.
That's right. Well, we got people chiming in. What's this now? They're trying to go get them. Go back into that.
Ryan, you want to fill that in?
Who was that? Was that Pendergrass post?
Yeah.
It was his tongue in cheek. He's kind of messing around, talking about women in bikinis and fishing rods, which is, in case no one knows, that's a great hot button for Kristine. But Kristine, you made a comment on it, right? Didn't you?
I did.
At some point, Kristine? Yeah.
And it was a little.
I guess the guy didn't know who he was replying to necessarily, but kind of shot his mouth off a little bit and rubbed me and several other people in the wrong direction. So
I got you.
had to let him know, he may be out of bounds. You might want to Google her first before you start talking about her. It'd be cool.
I got.
And he did reach out and private message me and apologize. So Ken and I are all good. One thing though, that was kind of weird about one of his responses is that, or in his initial post, am I the only person who would rather sit down and talk to like Rick Clunn and Jimmy Houston and Bill Dance than like the Guggen Squad?
No.
There's got to be more people that think my way.
I don't think I'd ever want to talk to the Guggen Squad anyway, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That was one of his points. The YouTube stars are more encouraging, inspiring to the fishing community than the old timers talking about fishing.
I don't know about inspiring to the community. I mean, they're fishing for likes. That's where they make their money. So, of course, they're going to encourage more people to follow their channels and stuff. Not saying they don't, there aren't some YouTube channels that do good for the sport. But, I mean, that is where they get their income from. The old school guys, like I've talked to Jimmy Houston personally a couple times, and that guy's hilarious. If you can ever catch him in a budget motel parking lot, it's worth 15 minutes of your time.
Yeah, those old boys, that's where it's at. I mean, I'd sit there and talk to them for hours. So that's my opinion on that.
Well, I think there's a huge difference between these guys that are really great at social media and YouTube, but who wants to talk to them is different than the people that want to talk to actual tournament fishermen and learn. That's a whole different crowd.
Yeah.
18, 19-year-olds just want to be entertained. They're not really trying to learn how to win a tournament. So that's
very true. That's a great point.
Well, hey, I know that you guys are enjoying your new house on the road. AJ's probably sitting over there staring at you, so we won't keep you on that long. Tell him we said hello. Hope he got his deal fixed out there.
He says, hey.
Yeah. And, we'll see you guys in a few weeks down in Shreveport. Have fun over at the Classic, and good luck this weekend in Lake Murray. Is that right? South Carolina?
AJ's not allowing me to pre-fish at all, and I've never been on the lake. I don't know anything about it, so don't count on anything special. But we're gonna see what I can do.
Hey, that's all right.
Hey, I'll mail you some Ned rigs. You're gonna be in good shape.
Please, thank you.
All right. Well, hey, you guys have a good night. That was fun. Thanks for coming on here and doing this, and see y'all again.
Thanks for having me, guys. See you.
All right, see you.